Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening here in the Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten, and welcome to May. We're now in the month of May. I hope you've gotten your cards for Mother's Day, and don't forget, Armed Forces Day is coming up. They are looking for volunteers to help put flags in the cemeteries for Memorial Day, so you might want to contact the Concord Veterans Council. And college graduations are coming up, and then, of course, the big Kiwanis Fair at the Ever Arena. So it's a busy month here in Concord. But to end the month, believe it or not, we have an election for some people, because the gentleman who is a state representative in Ward 9, which is over by, well, I'm Ward 8. They take over. They have half of Loudon Road. They have the north half from Ormond Street up to near 106, I believe. Yes. Then they have over toward Portsmouth Street. They have South Curtisville Road. They have the big Havenwood Retirement Center. They also have Alton Woods, Salisbury Green, and such. And we have a primary. Believe it or not, on May 30th, we have a primary on the Democrat side. And today, I'm pleased to welcome one of the candidates for that position, and that is Marc Lacroix. And he's with me today.
Thanks.
Welcome, Marc.
Thanks, Dick. Thanks for inviting me here.
Well, I'm glad to have you here. I didn't realize that you go to 4:30 Mass at Immaculate Heart sometimes, and I was glad that you came up and spoke to me, and you didn't catch me sleeping, so that was good. Well, I like going to 4:30 Mass because I'm a traditionalist, as Ian will tell you. I love the traditional hymns, and you don't see that too much at 11 o'clock. And definitely not at 4 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I'm not into rock and roll. So anyway, but I'm glad you're here and to talk and introduce you to the people, because I didn't know who you were. Now you live on Salisbury Green?
I live in Birdland.
That's right, Birdland.
On Robin Road, and yeah. I've been there for 39 years.
My goodness, isn't that a riot?
Yeah.
Would never have known that you lived there all that time.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of neighbors come and go, but it's a great neighborhood to be in, and we're happy there. Yes,
because when I was a kid, we lived on East Sugar Ball Road.
Oh, yeah.
At the dead end.
Mm-hmm.
And 393, when that came through, took my parents' house, or actually my grandparents' house, because they were the first house built in 1916 there. On East Sugar Bowl. It was just a dirt road, and we had no city water up there, no city sewage or anything. It was sad. And then my grandparents died, and we still lived there, my folks, us, and my sister. And then all of a sudden, 393 comes in, and whoops, it goes out. They could have moved our house, but my mother said no, because they said if they did, it would be because we own 4 acres of land, but anyway, so you're on Birdland. Of course, as I started to say too, before I got yapping on something else, was that as a kid, when Birdland was built, we always went there for Halloween because we knew we'd get good candy.
That's right.
Oh, they used to give some good stuff over there.
And I still do.
They used to rival Auburn Street a little bit. But everybody, and then of course, I had a girl that I was dating. She lived down the corner of Oriole and, oh boy.
Partridge,
I think. It was
Okay.
as you go in on Oriole.
Yeah.
It's right there in that first corner, that first house on that street there in that corner.
Yeah.
And then of course you had Stanley and Edna Bartlett there, and Bill Cullen, Doc Cullen.
Yeah, I know
they're
him.
long-time residents there, the Heights, and yeah, it was nice. But why I won't say why in the world, but why what made you want to jump in the race now for state representative?
Well, I have a clinical degree as a physical therapist.
Yeah.
I've been in healthcare management for many years, for 30 years.
Yep.
And as a healthcare manager, I've been an advocate for people to get access to healthcare. And I'll give you some examples of that later on.
Yeah.
But as I'm shifting gears in my life and looking toward the next step, I felt the next place I wanted to be as an advocate was from the inside as opposed to the outside. And I think now's my time to run for the House.
Yeah. It's a very interesting position. I was a city council for 6 years from Ward 8. Then I was asked about running for state rep because I had an opening coming up. And at that time, we were all one group. There was like wards 4, 8, 9, and 10 were grouped together. And so we were all at large. Then they changed us and moved us to separate one. I got 8 hours in Ward 8, then they took one and all that. But it's very interesting. I mean, the committees that we have, I mean, I was on Fish and Game the first year. Then I went to Transportation, and I really love Transportation. But it's a position that, people think we get paid big bucks for. Oh, man. I laugh. They think we get $10,000 or whatever. I said, no, how about $100? And that's what we get paid, $100 a year, and they take taxes out of it. So it's not a very wealthy job, that's for sure. And you have a lot of committee work if you get on committees. I'm on 2. I'm on Transportation, and I'm also on what they call statutory committees. And I'm on the emergency management one. Of course, I think because of all the years I dispatched, police dispatched, I was the 30-year dispatcher. But it's very interesting because I'll tell you, you want to try to go and listen to some of the sessions. We start in usually in the second year of the first term. We started on January, the first Wednesday of January. That's when we start. And then we go into committee work for
Sure.
But they don't have another session usually till the end of January because they're waiting for bills to come in for us to vote on. And then, of course, it gets busier as time goes on. And in June, we're all done in June.
Right. So, Dick, I think I've done my due diligence. I've certainly spoken to Andy, who's the rep that had to retire.
Oh, yes.
I spoke to Steve Sherloff, who's the House Minority Leader.
Yep.
And I've spoken to some other representatives as well. I've reached out to the community and spoken to different people into the community. I've been to committee hearings. I've testified at committee hearings.
Oh, good.
I've been to House hearings before. I've been to Senate hearings.
Yep.
I've been appointed, Governor Hassett appointed me to a workers' comp commission about 3 years ago.
Oh, very nice.
I worked hand in hand with a lot of people that you would know, certainly, and able to move forward some legislation that way. In fact, I've have a piece of legislation this year that I'm working on behalf of the physical therapists. And we just got through our House committee. We went through the Senate already, got through our House committee. And we're on consent calendar for, I think, tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Well, we don't have a session until Thursday.
All right, well, Thursday. We've got the consent calendar on Thursday, so we should get that through as well.
What bill's on?
Yeah, that's for licensing of physical therapists. Right now, each state allows, you have to go through each state to get a license, and it's costly, and it takes a lot of time to get licensed to practice in another state. So you have a lot of physical therapists that are either coming into New Hampshire or live in border towns that want to be able to practice in both states. So this would allow them a privilege to practice in both states. And a privilege is sort of like a driver's license. That your driver's license is in New Hampshire, but you have the privilege to drive in Vermont or Massachusetts, wherever else that you're going. So this would be a privilege for physical therapists to be able to practice in other states.
Well, I think the biggest thing, Mark, is you need name recognition, so you want to have, and also the biggest challenge I see that you're going to have, among other things, is that it's May 30th, which is the day before the holiday weekend.
Right.
So to convince people to get out there to vote, that you're in your ward, That's going to be difficult because people, I think, were so sick of last year that the thoughts of even hearing about another election is not good. And of course, in the fall we'll have the city elections, but you need to really get your crowd out there. And as I told you on the phone, Mark, there were some stories or some rumors or something that so and so had done this, or so and so had made a donation to a Republican candidate. But even if someone does ask you, just tell them that it wasn't you, that you didn't do that. But it's amazing how rumors start and how people don't wait to hear the truth. They jump right on anything.
Sure. I'm glad you brought that up. And I've heard similar rumors. And I will tell you that I've been an advocate, and I really have not worked with either party.
Yeah.
I'm a registered Democrat. I was a registered Democrat at the last election and voted in the Democratic primary. When Arneson ran her first congressional campaign, I introduced her to my national organization, who helped support her financially. I did the same with Governor Hassan. I mentioned that Governor Hassan appointed me to a workers' comp commission because she knew me because I had supported her. A few years back, when Managed Medicaid was coming around, I worked with Senator Woodburn, who's the minority Senate leader, and we helped get some coverage for diabetes that wasn't in the original coverage for Managed Medicaid. So I really worked with a lot of Democrats. I also worked with some Republicans as well because I've had to get through what we needed to, representing the people.
And that's how I feel. Is I've told people when I ran, if I had opposition, I'd said, yes, I am a Democrat, but I'm not afraid to listen to the other side, just because, hey, they might have an idea that I could listen to and give a thought before I vote. Who knows? And my purpose is I have friends on the other side too, and they're good friends. And I'm not going to stand there and criticize them. I mean, I don't have money, period. I'm probably one of the poorest legislators there are in there because I just don't have it. I'm on disability. I had a major stroke and a few years ago. But that doesn't mean I can't do my duties down there. And I'm there almost every day, every time I have something. But one of my big things is that it's amazing how that state house or the legislature they don't really care about the handicap or disability. And that's one of my themes. I'm working on a piece of legislation right now, myself and a couple other representatives. We're working on going to be sponsoring a bill about the handicap accessibilities in there. That state house and especially the legislative office building, that is very hard for the handicap.
It is, and if you've been in the tunnel between the two buildings, it's a long walk for people. And I've heard that from several representatives that it's a difficult walk to make it between the buildings. And at lunchtime, when they have to go to the cafeteria in one building and then make their way back, a lot of them struggle to do that, even though there is a handicapped elevator in there.
Yeah, and that thing sometimes doesn't work.
Yeah, so so I think that's a great idea. And
my feeling is, Mark, is that the chairman of my committee, they don't ask anybody. Like I have my walker, I go in. He never asks anybody on the committee, is there anything that you'd like us to bring over? Can we order you a sandwich or a salad or something, and we'll have it brought over here? Or if they would maybe suggest having somebody from the cafeteria go up and stand in the lobby and offer to sell things. Hey, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like we get ignored. And then we have the ramp going into the legislative hall there, and you'll see all kinds of people standing on it, and they look at you like, what do you want? Where do you want to go? You want to go by? Yeah, that would be nice.
And I'm sure it's hard to get to the seating if you're in the middle of a row.
Well, they've been pretty good because I have an aisle seat. But the trouble is, the last term, I was up and down like a jack-in-the-box, and that really hurt my knees. Got a lot of damage in my lower back on that. So this time I'm on at the end of a small row. It's like 5 seats, and most of them go out the other way, so it's good. But no, I think Mark, you've got some good ideas there, and I think you've got more knowledge than and this isn't insulting, but you've got more knowledge than I thought, because I didn't think you were that much involved up there like this.
Yeah, general advocacy. I've done it for 15, 18 years. I've really been able to meet a lot of people and talk to a lot of people, and they've inspired me to run, and throw my head in the ring and see if we can.
Well, you're going to want to get that out there. And I mean that, especially like Havenwood. That's a big group of people who vote over there.
Right.
Because obviously the voting thing is there.
Right.
So, and then, your apartment buildings like Halton Woods, Northeast Village, Canberra Village, and then you've got Salisbury Green, of course, and behind them is the Centerstone. But Portsmouth Street, some of those streets over there.
Sure, Cranmore Ridge.
Yeah, Cranmore Ridge, yeah. But you've got to get that word out there, because you've got some good stuff. But
Well, thank you.
And of course, the biggest thing is at the polls, it doesn't do any good to hand out stuff, because they're looking for a wastebasket as soon as they give it to them. Oh yeah. I was supervisor of the checklist in Ward 8 for 27 years. I was the chairman. And then I got shoved into Ward 9 because I got redistricted. But then I got back into Ward 8 after that. But then I had to resign when I became city councilor. But they did. They used to look for a trash barrel, because they didn't want that stuff.
Right.
But you want to really get that, because people know what you are, what you stand for. Now,
Sure.
what are your thoughts? Because now we're voting on the gambling thing this week. Senate passed it, but the House committee there's a committee in the House that's really against it, more so than ever.
Yeah. So I think everybody knows the state needs more revenue, and it needs to look at its revenue options. And gambling seems to be one that's out there, and there are busloads of people that leave New Hampshire every day to go down to Foxwoods, and my son lives in Maine, and I've been to one of the casinos up in Maine, and I will tell you that I don't gamble. I spent a week in Vegas, and I didn't spend a quarter gambling, so I'm
Really?
not a gambler. Yeah.
What did you do? Just go to the shows?
Go to the shows and just do a lot of people watching. It's amazing, the people over there. But I think for people to make it convenient, you have a nice casino, you have the gaming laws, and you make sure people follow the gaming laws that are there. I think it could be a good success story in New Hampshire.
Well, the thing of it is, Mark, is that they don't want gambling. No casino. But what do you do when you go into a store? Scratch tickets. You have $1, $2, $3, $5, $10,
Oh, sure.
$20, $25.
Yeah.
They did at one time have a $30 one, but they discarded that one back to 20. Then you've got Powerball, Megabucks, Cash Lotto,
And
daily number games.
don't forget about bingo.
And, well, that's what I was coming to. And then the king of all of it, bingo.
Yeah.
What in the heck do you consider all that? It's gambling.
Yeah. And I think up at the old Belmont Dog Track, I think they do
Yeah, they have charitable gambling up there.
charitable gambling up there, which is really a small casino that benefits charity. So instead of benefiting the charities, why don't we benefit the state as well?
It really gets me, because we've got one representative who is a Democrat, and she's just so outspoken about it. But yet, I watch them when they go in these stores, and say at Christmas time especially,
Oh, sure.
they'll stand there and buy like $20, $30 worth of tickets. But they don't want a ticket that ends in an odd number. They want the even number, even though supposedly the tickets that are lucky have the last number as an even number. So they'll ask the person who's giving them to you, I'd like the even numbers. And of course, that doesn't make them very happy.
That's funny.
If you, I mean, if you
But
don't,
I appreciate that tip next time I buy a lottery ticket.
oh yeah. Well, I haven't been too lucky. I do go twice a year. We go to Foxwoods once. We go to Vegas once a year, maybe. I've been to Plain Ridge down in Massachusetts. It's not great. I've been to the one in Rhode Island. Not great either. It was nice, but it wasn't that, you know. But to me, it's a choice. You know, nobody's going to hog tie you and take you in there if you don't want to go.
Right.
You know, really. If you don't want to go, stay out.
And I think the balance is to make sure you have the support services. If people get addicted to gambling, you need to have the support services. Like we're getting support services for alcoholics. We have support services for the opioid crisis now. We just need to have the support service on the other side. There needs to be that balance, no question about it.
I mean, you know, it's, and then of course we get to I am for passenger service on the train. I would like to see the Capital Corridor established.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got them. No. We don't. We got one Republican that's dead against it, and I said, you know, but they like it down easter though. Oh, that's good. One from Maine, and the Amtrak that goes through Claremont. Oh yes, well because New Hampshire's not paying for it. But Nashua and Manchester heavily want the train. They just and Merrimack, London, they all want the train. Plastow wants it on their side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, and there again. But you know who doesn't want it are the buses and the auto dealers, because it gets in. But why can't they all work together?
Sure.
I mean, the traffic going down 93 is horrible on a weekend or whatever. So let them take the train. Why not have the train? Why not work? I mean, Manchester Airport, they claim, is if you have train service nearby, you'll get the international flights in here. But until you do, you're not going to get them.
Yeah, that's not an issue that I really read up on. I'm not familiar with it. I really can't comment on that. But that was good. I appreciate your insight on that.
It's been a hot issue this year because there was a bill in there to do away with the Rail Transit Board, and it's not going to happen. Not this year anyway. We put it on hold. But you know, it's like, why is the train so popular in other countries, but yet we're so stiff up here? Are we a Yankee or what? But I mean, I don't know. It's just sad because years ago they had so many trains, and then now we're lucky we got one.
Sure.
And my feeling is, if Nashville wants it, let them work a deal with them. Manchester wants to hook on, let them work a deal with them. Really, why should we stop them? But I don't know, Mark. It's a good, and you'll see. You get elected, you'll see the different ones that are the constant speakers. I mean, they got to get up and say every time they get up and say something. You know, they can't be, and it's amazing because there's about 5 or 6 people that have to have the last word, and they always lose. But I don't know.
I think I've witnessed some of that in some of the committees as well. That
yeah. Oh yeah.
A little off topic every now and then.
Oh yes. Yeah, it's true. But if you got elected, what committee would you hope to get on?
Oh, I'd really want to go into Health and Human Services. That's really where my expertise is.
Yeah, Jim McKay is. I think. Well, he's not chairman now, but he's on that committee.
Right. And you know, I feel I have expertise there. I think there are things that we could be doing as a state to do preventative type of services to help people. I think we need to really take a hold and be proactive to help problems before they start. There are communities now that are doing hotlines, either video lines or phone lines for mental health crises. And it really helps keep people out of the emergency room, and it's really even helps with some of the drug problems in those communities. And we don't have that here. You know, in Manchester and some other cities, they can go to the firehouses. That's not a feasible solution within Concord.
I know it.
But, you know, maybe if we'd have a video line or a hotline that someone could call, that would help us in Concord as well. But that needs to be a city-state partnership. And we're fortunate in Concord to have the state here as being a great resource for us, but the state is also can be a drag on us. So we need to have that partnership. I mean, just an example is the women's prison being built. That's great that the women's prison is being built, but it's going to bring more guards into Concord, and presumably it's going to bring more children into Concord as well, so that's going to be a tax on our schools. And where's the housing going to be for these people? Are they going to live in Concord? And studies have shown, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but studies have shown that when men are in prison, the spouse stays in their hometowns to be closer to parents and the support systems. But when a woman goes to prison, the spouse and children move closer to that prison to be closer to mom. So that's going to bring more kids again, and more needs for Concord to support that. So what kind of partnership can we do with the state there to help that? What's the planning going on to help support that? Just as one example. But there are many examples of the city and state partnership need to be. And I think that's, to maintain the quality of life in Concord, we really need to be on guard to make sure that those considerations are taken into place.
Well, I'll tell you, you want, like I said, you got a big job ahead of you, because it's not. If it was a regular election, but now you're by yourself now, and you got to really get those people out there, or get them to do an absentee ballot. That's the other thing you could push. Hey, you can't get to the polls, get an absentee ballot. That's all I got to do. If they go away for the weekend, get an absentee ballot. I mean, they should be back home because it's Tuesday, but still, it always helps. But
special elections, I think, are always it's not on people's mind. It's not part of the regular cycle. So I can understand why it'd be hard for people to remember to get out to vote. So I have some reminders. I hope to contact people with different type of reminders and get them out there to vote.
A lot of personal touches is what's going to happen for you. But I mean, it's and we've got a lot of new people coming in now, and of course a lot of people that came in for the presidential are probably gone, so you don't get them. But the people who own houses over there on Portsmouth Street and all that, East Side Drive, they're the ones that will be the ones that will come out generally, or if they live in apartment complexes. But all I can say is smile, shake hands, and talk to the people at the church. After Mass or something, go to all Masses, and just afterwards, because it doesn't hurt to say hello, good afternoon, and good morning, and hey, don't forget to go to vote, because hey, you got to do what you got to do. So, but
I agree.
But no, we're coming to a close, and we'll try to get you back on again. But don't forget that May 30th is a primary for Ward 9. Not all of us, just Ward 9. And Marc Lacroix would love to have your support. So, and if you can't get to the polls on that Tuesday after Memorial Day, then get an absentee ballot so he can get elected. So thanks again, Mark.
Thanks, Dick. I appreciate you inviting me on your show.
Well, anytime. And then, of course, if you can win, our big election is the day after my birthday.
Oh, really?
July 18th. But anyway, so thanks for joining us in Around Town. I'm your host, Dick Patten, and on behalf of my super director over there, Ian Marx, and who knows, he may run for something too someday. We'll look forward to seeing you soon on Facebook.com/Concord Speaks.